I should be asleep by now, but this kept me up. The phone keeps notifying me. Every time somebody replies to this crazy ninja Reggie House and Smokey something or other that seems to think like he does. Pink Book Lessons posted one of her news stories of her type about a school secretary in Miami by the last name of Vigil. The irony. Vigil flirted with and propositioned a student aide that worked in the school's office from time to time with her. She flirted with him. She was caught on camera apparently, and there were some students that backed it up. When he told on her, eventually, because he had a panic attack, they came to pick her up, and she said he's the one that should be arrested. She said that he was assaulting or harassing her, one of the two. But it was camera. What worked against her was camera evidence and testimony from students. She had the nerve to try to Me Too that boy. And I shouldn't say boy morally speaking, because if he's 16, he's morally an adult to me, but the law says he is not. And there is still a moral quandary here because this lady was going after him, and she wasn't going after him for marriage. She wasn't going through proper channels to marry. She wasn't doing any of that. She was just flirting with a teenager, and we know that we don't count well, I morally do, but the law and the culture don't count teenagers as adults. And also, if you simply flip the genders, even if a man legally married someone that was that age and went through the parents to do it, even in a case like that, everybody would be talking about he's sick and that's that sort of thing. Even if he never fornicated with her. Think about that. He does not have to fornicate with her. He doesn't have to do anything immoral or illegal, but the man will be demonized. Remember how they demonized the man because he married an 18-year-old. Now, some people like to point to my last prophet and say that he did something like this. And I'm going to tell you now that the historical evidence actually is that she wasn't 9. That's the historical evidence. And in any case, some guys were sitting up and trying to say they don't see the problem, and that's because he's a boy. These guys had the nerve to go in under the comments and try to act like boys have a negative value because they're boys. I agree with double standards. I agree that men and women are not the same. I also am not going to accept a notion like this in the West because these are the same kind of guys. They pretty much just believe that you should be a horn dog and that you should be out there pursuing women, even in the context of today's time in which women have all of the rights. This boy had every right to have a panic attack. See, these young boys today, even if people think they're weird or less masculine, these young guys today do understand that they can be set up. And as a matter of fact, this young boy probably thought he was being set up for the setup. And guess what? When he told on her, which is the thing to do, she still tried to flip that Me Too on him. He probably was expecting this. If he didn't tell, I better go ahead and tell someone before she flips it on me. And then, you know what? She flips it on him when they come to pick her up. These two that stand out in my mind in the comments section sound as though they're suffering from this a condition, actually, a mental condition. And it affects quite a few um, of the old heads amongst us. I'm not even talking elders, I'm talking just old heads. It's it's known as OFSMPNT, and it's an acronym for Old Fashioned Slave Minded Plantation Nickel Trauma. They think the way that the slave breeders would have wanted them to think. Long as the guy's getting some, it don't matter. There are guys that have chimed in the comments and said, yeah, this is a problem. It's just that it's only now that this boy can get any support. You got a YouTuber in there that said something. The two commentators that have been pinned on the pin of shame didn't have anything to say in the way of support for this man. No, see, we're goofy because we believe that it's wrong because what's good for the goose is, generally speaking, good for the gander, and that we can actually we don't infantilize women at even in their teens. We don't infantilize them. So this means that this woman, well beyond her teens, does not get infantilized and get to be a victim because now the teenage boy told on her. No, we don't do that. But that's what's going on. We still have these guys, and you don't know if they're trolling or not, but we still got guys like this who are going by this old mantra, these old ideas. Oh, he's lucky. Fuck the shuck up. Don't say nothing. No, shuck that fit. Because you see, if that boy had taken her up on it, and it would have been worse for him. And it would have been more believable when she decided one day to say, oh, he was harassing and assaulting me and stuff like that. And two things can be true. There are some guys that actually want to call this boy 9AY because he told. And that's wrong. But you see, you as a guy could look and say, well, what the hell were these teachers when I was in high school? You could say that and still turn around and say it's wrong. And the boy did what he was supposed to do. You can, and here's why you can. You're simply holding the ladies to their own standards. So, I mean, yeah, if you can't help but feel like you missed the opportunities when you were younger because this wasn't going on as often, well, it would have been bad for you. If you're one of the guys that was not bothered in this way, it would have been bad for you if you had been. But you can still look at the ladies and say, well, hold up. What's the reason they weren't doing it? I mean, if they're doing this now and I didn't know about them doing this when I was in school, then that means that they weren't not doing it for the right reasons. You can look and say that, and that's fine. You see, you can look at somebody making a right decision for the wrong reasons and hold them accountable. You could still say, okay, your tail is showing. But in any case, I'm shocked not only to find out that some people think this way. That doesn't shock me. I'm more so shocked to find out they're going to get on Pick Book Lessons video and openly state that because you have a sense of morality and fair play, you're some kind of weirdo. Oh, man. We're going to have to start treating this like it's a real thing. Old-fashioned slave-minded plantation knuckle trauma. Yeah. OFSMPNT. It's a serious illness, and we do have some folks that have it. And they're a disgrace to actual elders that try to teach us. Anyway, thank you for listening as always. Black heart, black mind, blackout, and black heterosexual non-select male power because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thanks for flying with us on Jet Black Airways, where Jet Black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. And when I say gender justice forever, that includes remembering the notion that you are not of a negative value just because your junk is external. What it is not okay for you to do to her is not okay for her to do to you. Blackout.